Hello. We are now officially live. This is exciting. Happy full moon in Aries. Give a little bit for everyone to come in, um, or whoever wants to show up to come in. But a little bit of last minute change of plans in terms of I am streaming to you live from my play space tonight rather than Kink over in Waltham. Mainly because one, it was a spontaneous desire to do so, but also two, the theme for tonight is I am fearless with an additional theme of self awareness or moving in a way where it deepens our self awareness. So, with that being said, in trying not to plan and go about a little bit more of a spontaneous process, to doing this class tonight, really to honor Aries or the zodiac Aries. Um, it was a little bit difficult, but the reason why that theme is there is because it's going to be an intuitive, spontaneous based class, as I had mentioned. Spontaneity because Aries it's the beginning of the zodiacs. They are known as the babies of the zodiac. They have a lot of ambition, drive, spirit to move forward with something, and oftentimes will make a decision before thinking of things all the way through. So that's where this came from, just to really have a class where what if we just strengthened our intuition, our self awareness, what our body needs, and just act upon that intuitively. So that's really the premise where this is. So I am just going to give a framework, but no, exactly that's what it is, a framework. It's only suggestions. You have full permission to go off script and stray and do something else. In fact, if at any point your intuition or body says, do something else, please veto whatever I'm telling you through the screen right now and go ahead and do it. Reason because, well, one, I can't see you. So I hope that empowers you even more to be like, you know what? This doesn't agree with me. I'm going to do something else. Um, but also, two, that's really the essence and the point. Does this movement feel good? Does it agree with you? Can you explore it a little bit more and get a little deeper into that kind of vibes? Um, Another part is I'm not sure if, actually, it doesn't matter if you have or not. One of my students, Melissa, she has her own podcast called The Teacher As. I will link that below. And I was lucky enough for her to ask me to be as a guest speaker to talk about Pilates. And one of the questions that she did ask me was, tell me about what it's like or how you go about making your classes. And this is a way of me getting very raw, authentic, and vulnerable with each of you because this is a very pregnancy part of my class programming phase. I have the door open for authenticity sounds, so you might hear Luna in the background. I just heard her playing around with something. But this is a very important part of the early stages of my class programming in terms of I don't think, I just move, I see what my body needs and feels, make little notes of it mentally, and then we move on to the next thing. And if I feel so inspired to share it with my students, I do. And if I don't, then it stays with me and I get to keep it a little personal. Um, with that said, I do have a system before I start my Pilates movement. It is a little bit more of like a meditative-ish practice. So I will let you know about Aries and all the stuff as we start with our flow. But first, in the beginning, I do like to smudge my space. So we have a Yerba Santa smudge. I was originally thinking of using eucalyptus. Um, but that burned way better earlier as I was smudging the rest of my house than I anticipated. So what Yerba Santa does is it helps to not only protect the space, purify, spiritual growth, inner courage, and self-empowerment. So we're going to use that to help cleanse and protect the space, but we're also going to use that to help transfer that energy through this YouTube so that way you can get it as well. Another thing I'm going to be sharing with you is I like to have nature sounds in the background. So right now we have a cozy autumn fireplace going on in the background. So anything with crackling. And if you're wondering if there are birds where I am, not physically, but spiritually through my phone. Yes. I will also put a link below in that as well for you. So that way, if you want to use it or you want to search other ones, because they're actually really calming and I like them. And if you like them too, we're on the same vibe, you get to explore a little bit. But I'm also going to use the sound bowl. That way, regardless of what you have on your end, smudge, crystals, or nothing at all, the sound bowl will also help to clarify you, clarify and purify your space, protect you, and also align your chakras. It's just a very powerful tool. So I've got my little Tibetan bowl over there. So once I do all of that, then we will start into a total 50-minute movement session. I will have my stopwatch on for 40 seconds, so there'll be 40-second intervals. I don't know timing wise how that will work out. I usually do 30 seconds, and I feel like a little bit more time to explore. And just to really see how our body feels and moves would be very beneficial in this case. So stopwatch is going to be set to 40, and then phone is going to be set to 50 minutes once I sit on the space or on my mat with you and I finish cleansing the space. So if you want to, you can also cleanse your space. If not, while I do so, I'll be leading us through a grounding session, just like I have in the past. Because grounding is very, very important. When I first started teaching, I would call it my Pilates headspace. Now I call it my Zen headspace. Same thing. It's calming the monkey brain and getting more of your monk mindset, to steal Jay Shetty's words. But few class parameters I want to go over. One, the most important one, is to move intuitively. This whole class is about building self-awareness, as I had mentioned before, and learning basically from your intuition to fearlessly move within your body. Hence, I am fearless for the theme. Just explore what your body needs. And I constantly want you to ask 2 questions throughout the class. 1, does this movement / framework that Allie, me, whatever is coming about, whatever I'm suggesting, because that's what this is, just a suggestion, in alignment with your body? Yes or no? If it's yes, keep going. If it's no, then what is it? And for the no's, the first thing that comes to mind, that's what I want you to do. In fact, I encourage you and give you full permission to do that. No, you have full permission to veto me. And if you do, I will be applauding you over on this side, because that's what the class is about. Empowering, intuitive, fearless movements. Off of that, as well, in case I didn't mention, I wrote a nice little list for myself this time because I feel like I forget something every time. You have permission to look ugly, okay? I can't see you. This isn't about looking cute. This is about moving for our body, although I'm not intending for you to get sweaty, and I am, just looking for this to feel more good. More importantly, take feedback of it. If there is something that we do and you're like, wow, that was hard, then that's your feedback. Wow, that was hard. Put it in the back pocket of your brain. That's it. But no, this time my goal isn't to get you sweaty or dewy or to meet any guidelines of sorts. It's just to get you in a more meditative movement space and move from there. Thank you. Off of that, guidelines. If your doctor, healthcare practitioner, anybody who has a more licensed healthcare degree than me, because remember, I am just a Pilates instructor who got an undergrad in radiation therapy. I am not licensed to help you through most anything else that somebody in the medical community may have said. Please follow that. Like, again, going back of that first question, is this movement that Allie's suggesting in alignment with what my body can do right now? If that answer is no, then just do the first thing that comes to mind. On that note, go ahead, have a seat on your mat. Right now, just sit nice and tall. Legs are going to be as comfortable as you would like them to be, and just breathe. I'm going to go ahead and grab the smudge. I worked on getting that ready beforehand because it makes it a little easier. But breathe. I want you to take a nice deep inhale in, fill your lungs up with as much air as you can, and then exhale, send all of that air out. And while we cleanse the space, I ask that not only mine, but everybody who finds access to this video, that their spirit team and ancestors join us to help protect, motivate, empower, encourage us, and help us to gain whatever clarity we need to as into what we need to step into our highest timeline, whatever that might be for each of us, and clarity on what we need to release. Because this is a full moon, and full moons are all about releasing. Continue to breathe. Deep inhale in, exhale out. Go ahead as you breathe. I now want you to envision a cord going out of the base of your spine down to the earth's core. And then once it reaches there, you're still breathing, by the way, but I want you to focus more on your inhales. You're going to see a white light coming out from the core that you just created, going up to your body. With each inhale, it gets a little bit closer and closer until it meets your hips, goes up through your torso, through your shoulders, and out through the crown of your head, leaving behind a feeling of immense warmth flowing through your body. As the cord continues to come out through the crown of your head, think about it looping down with the cord that was created through the base of your spine and allowing you to really get yourself grounded with cosmic source, the universe, God, whatever word you want to use today, and just breathe. And knowing you are now in your most tapped in meditative state. It looks different for each of us, but focus on your breathing. And if you have any headphones, beware, because I am going to use the sound bowl now. So you are going to hear a little bit of ringing. Nice deep inhale in and exhale out. Continue breathing. Thank you for getting that clarity with me for a moment. Now go ahead, continue to breathe. I am going to start the 50-minute timer now, and we're going to go ahead and start our first 40-second session. So I'm going to go ahead, place my legs out in front of me. They're going to be in a bent position about hip distance apart, and I feel like putting my hands on top of my shins, and you're just going to breathe. Inhale in. And then exhale, I want to fold forward, tuck my chin towards my chest, roll, reach towards my toes, and then just sit here for a moment. Nice deep breath in, and exhale, get a little deeper into it. Noticing a stretch in my back, a little bit of sensation in the sides of my body, and my torso is just feeling very heavy as I sink deeper into my pants and closer towards the mat. Feet an equal distance. We've got our first inhale, come up nice and tall, and then exhale. I want to open up towards the ceiling, and then just breathe. Hands sliding up my legs, chest nice, proud, and open, and then I feel a nice stretch along my throat right now. And then inhale, I just want to come up and then fold forward a little bit. This time I want to stretch my legs out. It just feels a little better. And just fold right there, deeping into it. I now feel a nice stretch in my hamstrings. I really like this. I'm going to flow with it a little bit more and just sink into it. We do have our next 40 seconds that just came up. So what I'm being called to do is just flex my feet, have my hands wrap around, almost like gorilla pose, except we're not standing on our hands. And I want to flex my feet, let my t-shirt pull or pull back towards that wall behind me. So that way I feel more of just a stretch in my back body, and then point my toes. So that way I feel a stretch more in my calves. This actually feels really nice. I'm going to keep rolling with this, really flexing my feet back, feeling a stretch in the back of my calves and then in my lower back to my shoulders, almost like this rounded tortoise turtle shape, and then a fold forward. Ooh, we're going to go with that being a good analogy. Next 40 seconds are up, so I'm going to go ahead, come up nice and tall. I feel like bending my legs, and then I want to go back a little bit more because we didn't really do a whole lot with that. So I'm just going to round, tuck my chin towards my chest, roll back. I feel like lying all the way down. You just go wherever it feels nice. Arms, they'll go up and overhead, and then just roll up, sitting tall position. Legs did get heavy for a moment just because they need to in order to help you to get back up, but you're just going to round back. Now I feel my abs doing some work. This part feels nice though. And then just roll. Bring yourself right back up. My goal is also not to take this sweatshirt off at any point, but if it happens, cool. Going on to the next 40 seconds. Legs, gonna reach out a little longer. I'm actually gonna keep them together. Feet flex up towards the ceiling. A little bit of spine twist. So arms, they're gonna be back. Palms can be down towards the floor, but you're gonna twist from side to side. Feet as flexed as much as you can, legs pressing as much as you can together. Really anchor the lower body so the hips are down nice and heavy. And I'm looking for your spine to feel like a wet towel that you're bringing out. And there's no pace as in like however fast or how slow you go, because there's a certain part in the twist that it just feels extra yummy. I want to sit in it a little longer, but not so yummy that my body's just like, all right, like we can chill more. Next 40. I'm going to do this for another 40. If you want to move on to something else, that's totally fine. But I'm enjoying this twisting sensation in the body, and I'm not ready to part ways with it. So we're going to sit here a little longer. I'm also enjoying the stretch in the back of my legs. And I've been having this weird, tight, tendon-esque stretch in terms, I'll show you quickly, it's right here. But whenever I flex or I do anything to stretch my feet like this, I feel an extra pull in that part of my foot. That's just interesting. Now, legs, we're gonna bring them out wide. That part of the 40 seconds stopped. Good part about having a stopwatch. Hands are gonna be onto the floor. I'm thinking more spine stretch. Flex the feet up towards the ceiling, and then just tuck your chin towards your chest. Reach forward. Try to get your shirt to collapse onto the mat as much as you can. You can add some pulses if you want to. I just like to reach my hands towards the wall like they're inchworms, and I'm trying to get my t-shirt down a little lower. And then just sit yourself up nice and tall whenever you're ready, and rinse and repeat. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Flex your feet forward. Try to get your t-shirt flat onto the mat as much as you can. Inchworm your hands towards the wall, and then lengthen yourself up nice and tall. We're going to repeat that for another 40 seconds because, again, that just felt really good. I feel like 40 seconds now for some of these movements isn't enough, but hey, lesson learned. Or that's kind of the point of this. We're just exploring. Now we know. You just need more time than 40 seconds to explore some moves. I also want to add a back bend. It feels nice right now. My stopwatch went up for another 40 seconds. I'm craving a little bit of saw. You do you, but I will let you know when the 40 seconds are up. If you want to saw with me, you're going to keep your legs straddled, twist. Front hand is going to go towards your pinky toe. Back hand is just going to go behind you, thumb down towards the ground, and then you're going to reach towards your foot. If you want to add some saws or some pulses, go for it. Bring yourself up nice and tall, come back to center, and then twist to the other side. Same thing, pinky finger towards pinky toe, thumb down behind you, just reach. I try to get my t-shirt flat onto my pants, and then come up tall. Oh. This one was always one of my favorite exercises with the mat work because I love the way it feels on my lower back. 40 seconds is up. I'm repeating some more saw. You can do you. I'm enjoying the hamstring stretch, the opening in the lower back, and also the mid-back stretch. I feel like I'm not only twisting, flexing, but also borderline bending my spine. And all I can think of is Joe saying, "You are as young as your spine is flexible." Not that I ever heard him speak before, but words in the back of my head. Also, heavier your hips, deeper the stretch. Sometimes I get a little bit too into it and my other hip pops off. It happens. This is more about moving. Stopwatch is also going off. We're going to shake it out a little bit. The legs are going to come closer together. And actually, things are going to get a little nasty for a second because first thing that came to mind was some compression. So we're going to roll with it. Hands are going to go onto the mat. They're going to be in front of your knees. You're going to bring them as close as you can towards your toes. Point your feet or flex your feet. Doesn't matter. Pointed as style points. But press your hands heavy down. You're just going to take one leg, reach it up towards the ceiling, lower it right back down. Other leg lifts, lowers right back down. The goal is not how high the leg lifts, but just feeling the work in the top of your leg. And then we can fold forward a little bit more. Ooh. But you should be feeling your quad and hip flexor. I like doing this because we get to practice some shapes. Go ahead, shake your legs out. 40 seconds is up. Because you make that same shape in the Pilates world for stomach massage, tendon stretch. And it reminds me a little bit of elephant. A little bit more space, but I get elephant vibes. I'm craving two legs now. So you're going to go ahead, place your hands down. I like to go with fingertips, elbows bent, but both legs lift, both legs lower. You're going to go ahead, lift and lower. Trying not to move the torso back, but again, easier said than done. Now I'm starting to get really warm or feeling warm. These will do that to you. Oh, holy quads and hip flexors. I don't know when the 40 seconds will be up, but it doesn't feel like it's soon enough yet. Ooh, okay, Saved by the Bell. Shake out your legs. You must have heard me talking a little bit of smack. Anyway, last one, and then I'm feeling some side lying, but legs are going to come back into a straddle position. Hands, same thing, in the center, in front of your knee. Try to pancake yourself as much as you can. We're going to do the same thing. Lift one leg up, lower down, lift the other leg up, and lower down. Not aiming for height, but aiming more like I feel top of my legs and inner thighs, and I'm trying to pretend my hands are glued, or I should say my fingertips are glued onto the mat, like I want to grab them like suction cups or something, or like my hands are suction cups. Ugh. Just something so my torso doesn't go back. Also really feeling this in my abs right now. Okay, go ahead, shake it out. All right, now, coming onto your side, doesn't matter how. I feel like going onto my forearm. You can lie down, hand onto your head, but legs, bottom legs can also be straight or bent. I'm thinking of going a little straight on the forearm because we're just gonna lift, and lower. If you couldn't tell, I was not 100% sure where that was leading to in terms of, I just knew my body wanted to do some side work, but it wasn't until that very moment where like, yeah, we're gonna lift and lower. Then we're gonna go ahead and kick forward. So sweep the leg forward. I'm resetting the stopwatch, and then release as you go back. I'm adding the foot because again, I like the hamstring stretch that I've been getting. And motion is lotion. And I think the more I move my foot to help with that weird tendon sensation I'm getting, the better it'll feel. Or at least that's my thought process. I'm also trying to feel or lift my side body as much as I can. I have a tendency when I do this to just collapse in, and I want to feel plank, or at least still feel like my abs are working a little bit. I'm also starting to feel this in my butt. Okay, 40 seconds are up. Bring the leg back in. I'm actually feeling some bicycle. So what I'm going to do is first bend the leg in and back. In terms of, I do kind of want to layer into this because my torso is feeling a little bit more wobbly than I would like it to be. And I just got a nice crack in my spine. That felt nice. All right. Eventually, though, this is going to go to a straight leg. We're going to make this in-between sensation. My butt is really starting to feel this right now. And my side body. I'm still wobbling a little too much, but I am starting to feel warm. Okay, 40 seconds. You're going to go ahead. Well, I'm going to go ahead. If you want to, you can come along with me. Sweep the leg forward. Bend. Kick back. Straighten the leg. Sweep. Bend. Straighten it back out behind you. And then just keep going like that. Something different from the circles I've been doing the past few times. It's nice. My butt, though. Like, if anybody's side butt is just going like, holy moly right now, I feel you. All right, speaking of side butt, let's bring our leg down. Pound it out. That was 40 seconds. Shake it off if you need to. Now, we are going to do the other side in a moment. I never pancake from one side to the other. We're actually going to lay down, and I'm thinking we bring that same leg up towards the ceiling. I'm thinking the other leg stays bent, or I'm feeling a little bit more bent. Arms down by your side, and just let yourself sink heavy like a bag of cement, and let your foot fall towards your face as much as you can. So at least I feel a stretch in the back of my leg, and then lower it right back down. Continue like that. Lift, leg falling towards your face as much as you can, and then lower yourself right back down. Foot doesn't have to touch the mat. 40 seconds is up, but I'm going to come back to center, and I'm going to make dashes to either side. In terms right now, I just want the hips to be heavy so I can feel more of a stretch in the inner thigh. And then as I bring the leg up and across my body, outer thigh stretch, I feel that way more if I straighten my leg. The other hip is coming off a little bit, but I'm okay with it just for the integrity of the stretch. I also really feel my center right now. Things are getting wobbly. All right, 40 seconds. I'm going to do a circle. You can join me. You don't have to. I'm going to keep my hips down to start, but I'm going to go towards the window, up towards the ceiling, towards the camera, and down towards my foot. Right now, my hands are on my hips because I don't want them to come off the mat, and that does require a little bit more focus, at least right now. I can also still smell my yerba Santa in the background. I'm enjoying this. I'm also really liking how this is feeling in my hip socket. Not a big fan of my abs right now, but I do like the leg. All right, okay, good. I was about to ask, when are we going to reverse direction? And then the stopwatch went off. I love it when that happens. If anybody else also enjoys while you're working out, you set the right time when you're like, oh, frig, How much more time is left? Why hasn't this gone off yet? But as you're moving, notice, going back to our circles, how does this circle feel different? Although I've been doing a little bit of rambling today. It happens. Zero apologies given. I hope these authentic sounds of my voice help you as you go through your movements. Okay, now, legs are gonna come up. Give it yourself a little moment. I'm thinking the hip comes off the mat and we circle, but we stick with that same leg. So other leg's down. I'm gonna flex my foot. You can do whatever you want to ground it. And I'm gonna bring my other leg up towards the ceiling. I'm also gonna cement my arms into the floor, and I'm gonna go towards the camera. Opposite hip comes off, shoulders stay down. Both hips come off as I go towards the wall, window, up towards the ceiling. Hip comes off as you twist and circle around. I enjoy this because I just like the twisting sensation of it. It just feels nice. Oh, I also got another crack in my spine. That felt nice. Just honor those feelings when they happen. All right, and now we're gonna reverse the direction. 40 seconds are up. So now go, for me, out towards the window, down towards the wall. Hip lifts as the leg comes towards the camera, and then it'll plant down as I go up towards the ceiling. Towards the window, to the wall, to the camera, to the ceiling. A part of me wanted to rap a little bit as that happened. I hope you did a little bit too. My abs are also just kind of like over this a bit. More my obliques and lower abs. I think, yes, go ahead, bring your leg back in. I'm not even gonna finish that circle. I'm bending both of my legs, windshield wipering from side to side. I'm craving some bridges before we repeat those circles on the other side. So we're gonna go ahead, reset the stopwatch for 40 seconds, arms down by your side, legs bent, feet hip distance apart, and just roll up into your bridge and melt yourself right back down. I'm removing my hair clip for comfort reasons. I don't like the back of my head pressing into my clip once the weight goes into my shoulders. However, especially the left hip, the side of my body closest to the windows, is really enjoying the stretch in the front body right now. Then stopwatch went off. I'm going to switch my feet to a V foot, heels together, toes are apart, and then bridge from there as I lift them over. You may or may not be able to hear the knee cracking. Not a requirement. I also gave myself a little bit of space between my heels, and that stopped the cracking. So, modifications. All right, keep the hips up. We're going to reset the stopwatch, and we're going to butterfly the legs by bringing them in and out. Legs come together and then apart. Really feeling the inner thighs. I'm also feeling some side booty too. Whew. And back body, lower back. Not to mention like glutes and hammies already from the bridge, but that stretch before just kind of took over. Ooh. Go ahead, lower yourself down. All right, so I had an idea. Since that ding came through as the idea was happening, we're going to execute it. So, single leg bridge. One foot's going to be down onto the mat. Other leg's going to be into a tabletop position or straight leg position. But you're going to go ahead, do the same thing, reset the stopwatch, roll up, press down with your hands, and then roll yourself right back down. And just keep going. Press your foot and arms down as you lift and lower. Really feeling the leg that's on the mat getting loaded, or I feel like it's getting loaded. My quad doesn't feel too happy right about now. Although what we're going to do next, once the stopwatch goes off, is we're going to stay in the bridge, and we're going to, right now, write our name onto the ceiling. So go ahead, like however you would write your name. I'm doing my full name, which I'm not going to say out loud because I'm not the biggest fan of it. But then once you do, lower yourself down. Okay, that definitely wasn't 40 seconds, but maybe you have a longer name than I do, or maybe a shorter one. If you do, we're going to take this as a break because there's still the other leg. Right now, I'm craving some windshield wipers. I just did my first name. I did not do the middle and the last. If you did, kudos. Stopwatch just went off though, so go ahead, give yourself a moment. I'm going to return back to center, bring the other leg up and towards the air, do the same thing. Lift up, and then lower right back down. I'm mainly taking into notice how this side feels different from the other side. This side doesn't feel as cranky. We also didn't do the side leg work with it, so that might have something to do with it. Just my sweatshirt. Okay, keep your leg up. I'm going to reset the stopwatch and just write your name into the ceiling. Again, I only did my first name. Whew. And that is more than enough. So, if you need to still write your name, go for it. Please try and stick to the same amount of words you did before. Right now, I'm in a butterfly stretch, just relieving my body. But what I meant by that before I shared the stretch with you is if you only did your first name, like me, go ahead and stop. 40-second timer also just went off. So you are now free. And we're going to do the other side. So leg can be bent or straight, restarting the timer now. But there was just lifts and lowers to started with. So leg's going to lower down towards the mat and then lift up towards the ceiling. I'm going to bring that leg back to a bent leg because I actually really enjoy that. I feel like I'm able to get a deeper stretch in my hamstring as the leg comes up towards the ceiling. Also, if you haven't been doing your audits, quick friendly reminder, does this movement, 40-second timer went off, leg goes up towards the ceiling, do your dashes from side to side. Does this movement, Ali is suggesting, one day I'll be able to say that word, agree with my body? Yes or no? If no, you better be doing something else that does. I also am feeling a deeper stretch on this side a little bit, closer to my butt. Bent leg is also a little bit more enjoyable. Next, though, we have the circles. Stopwatch went off, legs going up towards the ceiling. Now, if you want to circle with me, just pick a direction and make your largest circle. This one, hips stay down for both directions. This one also doesn't feel as stretchy in the hip socket, but What else? We also did the side kicks first, and we're doing this first. So I'm assuming that's got something to do with it. 40 seconds are up, reverse your direction. Ooh, this direction also feels harder, as in I cannot make my circle as large. In fact, I significantly need a smaller circle and a bent leg to help me accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. 40 seconds are up. I'm still going for a twisted hip, arms out to the side, straight leg, down onto the mat and up towards the ceiling if you're up for it, but let your hip come off as it lowers down in the opposite direction, out to the side and up towards the ceiling. As in, it doesn't matter which direction you start to circle the leg in first, because we're doing both, but maybe do a different direction than the one you were just doing. So your first direction when we started circling the legs, and try to keep your shoulders down onto the mat as much as you can, because I know mine want to sneak up every once in a while. 40 seconds is up. Reverse your direction as I circle. There we go. Legs down towards the camera for me, towards the wall, towards the window, and up towards the ceiling. Camera, wall, window, ceiling. Shoulders plugged down, hips off the mat. I let my foot wiggle like it's saying hello. You can do whatever you want. Again, we're just exploring movement. All right, 40 seconds is up. Bring everything back in. Now, side lying business. So I'm going to stay facing you. I'm going to go towards the opposite wall though. You can face towards the other side of your mat. But again, I'm going to go onto my forearms. You can be lying down, whichever. I'm also going to have the leg bent. Right now, we're just going to lift and lower. Legs will go up towards the ceiling, trying to keep the side body lifted from going onto the floor, and lower right back up. I feel like I did more talking than moving during that 40 seconds, so excuse me. We'll see how that is. Yeah, we're going to repeat that. If at any point you're just like, nope, I'm over this, that's fine. Just stop lifting and lowering the leg. Also, the goal is to try and keep the torso still, not let it crouch down, just to be as tall and lifted as you can. All right, my leg is staying. It's up with that. All right, we got 10 seconds for anybody else who's still moving or doing something else. Whew, feeling nice and warm and toasty. All right, timer or stopwatch just went off. Side kicks if you're up for it with me. Sweep the leg forward and then back. I like to add the foot. Again, the hamstring stretch. I'm also thinking about pressing my forearm down onto the mat just to help me lift my side body. Butt cheek. That's also where I'm feeling this action, in case anyone was wondering. Sometimes how to flex and point the foot gives me a brain cramp. I'm glad you think so too, birdies. All right, 40 seconds went off. Now, bicycle. So legs bent. I was just like kick the leg forward, bent, and back. I guess we could have done this one first, but my brain did not think of it at the time. So we are doing it now. Yeah, my butt is starting to say, I'm feeling the work, my dear. Torso is staying as still as you can. All right, now add it with the side kick or the sweep back. So 40 seconds where we're starting. Knee in, release the leg forward, sweep the leg back, bend, release, and sweep. I only did one direction on the other side. We're only going to do one direction on this side. I happen to do one in each direction in terms of I know I did the bent leg going back and extending. This time I have my leg going front extending. It's all good. Again, motion is lotion. This isn't about doing the movement right. It's just about moving. Whew, man. All right, 40 seconds is up. Go ahead, let your leg come down. Do whatever it is that you need to. I'm going to pound out my glute just to give it some love, and then lie down on my stomach. Just cuz. Legs out long, hands. I'm feeling forearm position. Just going to clean some stuff on my mat. I'm going to be looking down and some back bends. So just inhale, come up, whatever that looks like, and then just lower yourself right back down. Think of a proud open chest, like a boxer, as in your collarbone is smiling at the wall and you're leading with your heart as you lift and lower. Keep going, 40 seconds. Went up, so if back bending's not working for you, restyle. But just lift however high you're able to. Arms don't have to be straight. They can be bent. In fact, they don't even need to be on the floor. You can lift them. As you lift, there's, the microphone. Hands lower. I just felt something pressing into the side of my ribs. I was like, what is this uncomfortable feeling right now? We're just going to roll with it.